We are very excited to be launching a brand new project that harnesses technology for the benefit of wildlife. Wildlife conservation NFTs. Now, non-fungible tokens have been used to certify digital art and also enhance virtual spaces like the metaverse, but here we're going to be using it to help wildlife.
WildEarth is using these smart contracts to create a genuine sense of custodianship of these individual specific wild animals while sending money to the real custodians of the habitat that these animals live in.
Now, this is a whole new non-consumptive revenue source for these conservation custodians of these habitats.
It is true that most NFTs are on the Ethereum blockchain, and vast amounts of computers are using massive amounts of energy to keep Ethereum running. So we had to find a low energy consumption way of minting our NFTs.
At the same time, we needed to make sure that there was a vibrant secondary market for these NFTs. Otherwise, the entire project wouldn't work. So our NFTs would have to be on OpenSea, because that's where 98% of all NFT secondary market liquidity exists today.
The solution turned out to be a layer 2 network called Polygon that uses a tiny fraction of the energy consumed on Ethereum, but is also supported by OpenSea.
Polygon uses less than 1,000th of 1% the amount of energy per transaction than Ethereum, but still does everything that Ethereum does.
To put that into perspective, the amount of energy used to either purchase or sell one NFT on Ethereum could power a US household for 6 days.
Whereas the same transaction on Polygon takes less energy than it does to charge your mobile phone or watch one of our safaris for 10 minutes on your TV or desktop computer.
So, by minting our NFTs on Polygon, it allows us to use the least possible amount of energy while still creating real incentives for our custodians to conserve the environments and habitats of these animals.
Conservation really is conserving habitat. Now, when we talk about creatures being in danger or going extinct, it's not so much that people have killed the last one, it's they've taken away the habitat. If you save a species and you have it in a cage in a zoo, it's not saved. It needs to be saved in its context, and its context is the landscape it lived in.
40% of the first sale and 8% of every resale is routed back to the habitat custodian. This flow of revenue from the NFTs forever into the future, even if the animal dies, is at the heart of how WildEarth NFTs aim to incentivize wildlife habitat conservation.
We got our first 40% of the first sales that happened in the pre-sale window that closed last week. Once 40% of that sale lands in the bank, it's very real. But the ability to have NFTs generate ongoing income is just remarkable. If that happens, and custodians of landscapes who have income from token sales of certain iconic animals they may have on their properties, is an important game changer for the conservation of landscapes.
Every custodian of wildlife habitat will face different challenges and needs. At JUMA, it's important to ensure that the communities that live along the edges of these vast wildlife reserves are incentivized to help conserve them. That means that they need to benefit from these conservation areas or they won't conserve them. Yuri, tell me, how important are the surrounding communities to conserve in JUMA?
Crucial, absolutely crucial. The conservation doesn't happen in a vacuum. If surrounding communities do not see the value in conserving land right next door to them, and if these surrounding communities are desperately poor, how could you expect them to buy into the idea of conserving?
No conservation happens in a vacuum. All conserved areas are surrounded by humanity. In 1998, JUMA built its first preschool, Noa Tambiri, and over the years have developed 5 other such preschools. They concentrate on mostly smaller projects, as there are so many non-governmental organizations doing bigger projects. Many students that have obtained a bursary but are unable to fund accommodation, food, and transport, look to JUMA for help. Currently, they support 9 students from 4th year law to teaching students. Larger projects in the last few years include development and support of a local radio station and providing internet access into various youth and community centres.